Hey guys, this is Ms. Mo. This is the third video over section 9.1. I think the last couple of videos I accidentally said we were on 5.1, but we're actually on 9.1. My bad. Okay, so this is for how to find the limit from an equation. And remember, the limit is just the y value. So let's not get too panicky here. We're just trying to find the y value. And we're gonna do it by hand using algebra, and then a little bit later we're gonna practice using the calculator, but for right now let's just use algebra. So we're still gonna have the whole limit with x approaching something like we did on these pictures, only instead of looking at the picture to find the y value, we're gonna plug it into the equation to find the y value. Okay, so on this first sucker, it says limit, and I think there's a typo. Oh my gosh, I never do anything right. Okay, let's see here. Limit as x approaches -6 of 10x plus 1. Okay, so it says plug in the x value, reduce, and no decimals. So we're gonna plug in our -6 into the letter x. 10 times -6 plus 1. And then we're just gonna do that math. And if you need a calculator, you can use it. I'm not gonna judge you. Okay. So I got -59. And hey, that should be the y value when x is -6. So if you guys wanna see it in the calculator, if I go to y equals, this top left button, and then press the 10x plus 1, 10, and then x is by this green button, plus 1. And then if I go to my t-chart by pressing second graph, at the x value of -6, I should have a y value of -59. Let's check it. Oh look, -6, -59. Huzzah! Okay. Let's do another one. Let's do this sucker. We're gonna plug in, it says limit as x approaches -4. So let's plug in -4. On the top, we're gonna have -4 in parentheses squared minus 1 all over 4 minus -4. And on the top, -4 squared is +16. And if you don't put those parentheses in your calculator, you will not get it right. So do not just type -4 squared, because that will give you -16. You have to put open parentheses, -4, close parentheses squared. That one, you have to use the parentheses. Okay, so this top becomes 16 minus 1. All over these double negatives on the bottom make a plusative. So 4 plus 4 is 8. And then that makes 15 over 8. And then it says reduce and no decimals. So I don't think I can reduce, because the only thing that can divide into 15 is like a 3 and a 5. And those do not divide into the number 8. Okay, now if I wanted to type this in my calculator, I could go to y equals, and I'm gonna type this x squared minus 1 over 4 minus x. And if you have a newer calculator like me, you can press alpha y equals, what? Press the green, then the y equals in the top left, and it says n/d on number 1, press enter. And holy gatos, it makes us a fraction. So we can just type in x squared minus 1, and then move down and press 4 minus x. Okay, but if you don't have a new calculator like me, you can just use a ton of parentheses, as in put parentheses around this top, then press the divide sign and put parentheses on the bottom. So let's try. I'm gonna put parentheses around the top. So parentheses x squared minus 1, close parentheses, the divide sign, then parentheses around the bottom, open parentheses, 4 minus x, close parentheses. Okay, now I'm gonna go to my table, and remember to get there, I press second graph, because above the graph button is a blue table. So second, I didn't press it right, hold on. Second graph, there we go. Now I'm gonna look at when x approaches -4. So at -4x value, it says the y value is 1.875. That's not what we got, or is it? 15 divided by 8. Oh, 1.875. Okay, we did that one right. Okay, so the point is you just plug in your number. You plug in whatever x is approaching. Let's try this one with the square root. It looks kind of scurry, but it's not. All we do is plug in a 10 to the letter x. So we're gonna have square root 7 times 10 minus 6. And I think that gives you square root of 70 minus 6. And that gives you a square root of 64. And I think that just pops out an 8. Because the square root of 64 is 8. Exciting. Let me show you what you would have done if it wasn't perfect. So in the homework, it might not be perfect. Let's say on the homework, you got square root 48. Okay, then if I try and type square root 48 in my calculator, it gives me a decimal, and I don't want that. So instead, I'm just going to start breaking this. Like, what multiplies to 48? A 24 and a 2. What multiplies to 24? Lots of things, but I'm just going to go ahead and say 4 and a 3. That's not right. Three and an 8. My bad. Okay, good. So 24 is 8 times 3. Then let's break up this 8. 8 is 2 times 4. And then break up that 4. 2, 2. Okay, so again, 2 times 24 is 48. Then I can't break up that 2 anymore because the only thing that multiplies to a 2 is 2 and 1. And that's not going to help me. So then I tried breaking up the 24. I did it wrong first, but then I figured out 8 times 3 is 24. Then I broke up that 8. Then I broke up that 4, but I did not break up the 3s or the 2s. Okay, now I'm going to cross out what I broke. So that 4 got broken, goodbye 4. Cross out that 8, goodbye 8. Cross out that 24, goodbye 24. Cross out that 48, goodbye. So you cross out everything that you broke up into multiples or factors. And then let's see, we're looking for twins. So let's see if we have 2 of the same thing. Well, I see I have 2 of the same 2s. And then, oh my gosh, I have another set of twins. There's another set of 2s. And then there's this single lady over here, this 3. Yeah. So there's 2s that are twins, and then there's a single lady 3. Okay, so to simplify this, I'm going to put that single lady 3 back in the house. But the twins come out, and they only come out as one thing. Kind of like with this 64. Remember, 64 is 8 times 8. But the square root of 64 is just 1/8. So if you have a pair, you only bring it out once as your answer. So for us, we have a pair of 2s, so I'm going to put it in front of the house once. Then I have another pair of 2s, so I'm going to put it in front of the house again. But those 2s aren't 22, they're 2 times 2. So this would become 4 square root of 3. So if it's a perfect square root, wham bam. If it's not a perfect square root, you have to break it up into the multiplication chart as low as you can go. And then the pairs come out. So I see a pair of 2s, so a 2 comes out once. I see another pair of 2s, so a 2 comes out twice. And then I multiply those 2s. Okay, let's try this sucker. This one says, limit as x approaches 0 from the negative. What the heck? That means left. I'm just going to write that down, left. Then it says x approaches 0 from the right because of that plus sign. So that plus sign means right. And then this last sucker, I think I messed up again. I can't do anything right. Cross out that little negative in the air and just look at it straight on. Okay, so let's think about this. I give you I want us to find 3 different limits, but then I give you this weird equation looking thing. This is called a piecewise because there's 2 pieces to the equation. There's 9 plus x, and the second piece is 9 minus x. And each piece has a requirement out to the side, or a restriction. So let's see, we are going to plug in this number 0 into the letter x, just like we did on the last problem. We plugged in 10 to the letter x. And on this one over here on the left, we plug in -6 to the letter x, -4 to the letter x. Here we're going to plug in 0 to the letter x, but we have to figure out which one. Okay, so let's think about this. To the left of 0, for this first limit, to the left of 0 is things that are smaller than 0. So that's this first little piece of the piecewise. And we know it's this first part because this less than means left. Yeah. And I kind of wrote left. I wrote the L kind of janky because it looks like a less than. Okay, so things that are less than 0 are to the left. Whereas on the other hand, things to the right of 0 are greater than. So for this first limit that says 0 from the left, we're going to plug in our number 0 into the first equation. So instead of 9 plus x, we're going to have 9 plus 0, and that's just 9. So the limit as x approaches 0 from the left is 9. Now let's look at the next one. X approaches 0 from the right. Well, to the right means bigger than. So we're going to plug in 0 into the second equation because the second equation is talking about the right side because bigger than, that greater than symbol means to the right. Okay, so we're going to plug in a 0 into this sucker. So we're going to have 9 minus 0. And holy poop, that's 9. Trickery dickery, okay? Now it says, what's the limit of just x equals 0? Well, remember that's if from the left and the right match, then that answer is also the answer for just regular old x approaches 0. So for our limit from the left, we got a 9. For our limit from the right, we got a 9. For just looking at 0 straight on, since the left and the right were both 9, looking at it straight on is just 9. And it's 9 because they match. Oops, that was supposed to say match. So if I would have had maybe 9 for the first one, 8 for the second one, this third one would be does not exist. Let's do another example because I don't think that was good enough. Let's say we have limit as x approaches 2 from the left. No. That is good enough. That's like what your homework is. Okay, enough for now.